What's going on, folks? We got some more Elite Speak for you. And this is a review for AEW Dark, August 18, 2020, episode 47. And I have your review right here. Let's get it started. The show kicked off with Tony Schiavone, Taz, and Veda Scott on commentary. Good stuff. Veda Scott was last doing commentary for the Women's Tag Team Cup Tournament, and she's been doing a good job with that. And I was kind of surprised to see her on Dark. That's a good sign because it shows that AEW may be looking at leaning on her going forward for shows. Excalibur still will be there. Hopefully, he still will be there, but Veda can shoulder some of the load as well, because before Excalibur's absence, he's been on just about every single AEW show. So, yeah, you can give announcers a break with this, and I think it's a good move. And I think she passed. If they were testing her on Dark, I think she did great. So, hopefully, they keep her around after the tag tournament, and we'll see what's up. First match was Michael Nakazawa versus Kip Sabian, accompanied by Penelope Ford. Kip starts the match with an armbar on Naka and brings him down with the hold to the mat. Then he goes to give Penelope a smooch. Naka later whips out his oil and lathers himself up in it. Kip then goes for some chops to Naka, but to no effect with the oil applied to Naka's chest. Kip then gets the better of Naka with a tope suicida on him to the outside of the ring. Naka then goes for a fallaway slam and use the opponent to pull out his patented underwear. He actually turned Nakazawa's own underwear to his hand that holds the underwear to Nakazawa's own face, and he smothers his own face with his own underwear. Kip then finished Nakazawa off with his rope neckbreaker finish for the 1-2-3. And Kip Sabian rolls on with another win. Comedy match. It was all right for what it was. Next match, we have Sean Dean and Frank Stone versus Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. Stone is a newcomer, I believe. He made his AEW debut. And they both looked good. And, of course, we know Sean Dean looked good based on his previous Dark matches. Janela and Stone start the match off. Janela gets the better of Stone as he tagged to Dean. Kind of almost immediately. Janela then tags in Kiss. Janela gets the better of Stone as he Stone tagged in to Dean. Janela then tagged Kiss in. They then got the double team offense in on Kiss, both Stone and Dean. Dean later distracts Janela, and Stone took advantage with a splash to the corner. Dean then gets a nice standing suplex in on Janela for a 2 count. Stone and Dean had great tandem offense, I noted. They isolated Janela to build the hot tag for Sonny Kiss. He then gets the hot tag and goes wild on both Stone and Dean. Kiss later hits a split stunner on Dean, goes for the split leg drop but missed, and allows Dean to tag in Stone. Stone looked pretty good in there, I noted, at this point. And he should, since he had about 12 years experience, they said, on commentary. Kiss and Janela later finished Dean off with a tandem elbow drop and a split leg drop for the win. Solid match. Next match we had Will Hobbs versus Shawn Spears. Nice showcase for Will Hobbs here. And some story progression with Spears. Spears attempts to knock down Hobbs, but to no avail as he backs into a corner after the fact. He then gets some coaching from Tully on the outside of the ring. Spears did. Spears goes for Hobbs' legs to get an advantage. It was his only way to get any kind of offense in on Hobbs, being that Hobbs is a big dude. Spears later attempts to drag Hobbs outside the ring, but Hobbs uses the ropes for leverage to avoid that. Hobbs later gets a desperation spine buster in on Spears and got a 2 count for his efforts. Spears later hits his DVD or the C4 on Hobbs for the win. Solid match here. Has some storytelling and all that. Post-match, Spears continued to go after Hobbs via the use of the ring post. He tried to injure Hobbs' legs that he focused on throughout the match. Tully then hands Spears something for his glove. Spears then walked down the ramp, headed to Hobbs, and knocked Hobbs in the face with his gloved weapon, with the black glove. And he walked back through the tunnels with Tully afterwards. Not bad story progression. Spears keeps his heat after the match. Next segment, we had Starks cutting a promo on Darby Allin. Starks says he's too handsome to be hardcore. He says Darby and him are complete opposites. He can't end Ricky. He's only beginning. Some clown decided to hop on his back via the skateboard, and Darby had better watch out. And the clown he referred to was, of course, Darby Allin. So these two are going to be feuding going forward. And Darby so happens to have a match on Dynamite this Saturday. And I presume that Ricky Starks is going to play some kind of role into that. We will see. We shall see. Next matchup, we have TH2 versus The Initiative. TH2 comprised of Angelico and Jack Evans. And The Initiative, Peter Avalon and Brandon Cutler, accompanied by Leva Bates, the librarian. Cutler rode a 15 during his entrance, and it's not a bad road, so maybe they have a good chance of winning this match. We shall see. Angelico and Avalon start the match off via arm holds, which both get the better of one another. Later, Cutler and Evans get tagged in. Evans showboats a bit, but gets kicked in the face via Cutler. Both go back and forth via pin attempts, and this was a long exchange. They both got close 2 counts. Cutler then tags in Avalon and gets off a double team offense, and Avalon gets a 2 count via a pin. Avalon then snatches a book from Leva, but tosses it to the side via a beckoning from Cutler to not do so. Instead, Angelico takes it and whacks Avalon in the back. Angelico later gets a nice, unique submission hold in on Avalon that Cutler eventually breaks up. TH2 builds up the hot tag for Cutler. Avalon gets signaled out into their corner. Cutler later gets the hot tag and runs wild. He gets off his aerial moves on both TH2 members. Later, Leva gets a Hurricane Rana off on Angelico outside of the ring because she got up on the ring apron and jumped straight on to Angelico for the Rana. Angelico then later gets a buckle bomb in on Avalon, and Evans hits a 450 on Avalon for the win. Solid match. This was the TH2's first win since their return a few weeks ago. Their second win of 2020, according to commentary. Next match, we had Abadon versus Red Velvet. Red Velvet's making her third AEW appearance, I believe. Red Velvet goes in straight on Abadon. She wastes no time getting in strikes. No matter how much Velvet tries to lay in on Abadon, it was to no avail. Abadon no-sold most of these strikes. On the ring apron, later, Abadon screams and drives Red Velvet's face into the ring apron via an arm drag, takedown-ish move. It looked nice. Aggression, that's what we like to see. Abadon then puts her hand around Red Velvet's throat, picks her up, and throws her into the ring corner. Later, she put Velvet in a powerbomb position and transitions to the cemetery driver, a.k.a. the grave digger, a.k.a. a widow's peak, for the 1-2-3 victory. Solid match. was all about that character progression. And Abadon has that down to a T. Her character is solid. Just got to work a bit more at the in-ring work, which she is doing. She's getting better. Adding more moves to her move set that we haven't seen yet. So all is well there. Progression is what we like to see. Red Velvet looked good as well. Hope we see more from her also. Next match was the Dark Order, which consists of Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and Colt Cabana versus Fabu Andre, Ryzen, and D3. This match, it was tough to keep up with what was going on here. I took notes as best as I could. Fabu and Colt starts the match off with a series of pins, but to no avail. Fabu then gets blind tagged out via Ryzen. He does not last long in the ring and tags in D3. D3 attempts to take advantage of Colt, but Cabana gets his elbow to the head on just about everyone after this. Colt tags out to Reynolds as he and Silver hit the double team finisher on D3. The Dark Order looked good, but they didn't tolerate any smiling from Colt, as it wasn't allowed. The Dark Order wins via the double team move from Silver and Alex Reynolds. Good match there. Next match we had Ricky Starks versus Lee Johnson. This was a good one. Both start the match with some mat-style wrestling. Both looked good in the exchange. Starks gets the upper hand in the end with a drop kick. Lee then hits back with his own drop kick. Starks then rolls out the ring to recoup. Lee then goes after him, but falls into the trap. He gets stomped for his troubles. Starks then mocks Darby's coffin drop in slow motion as he fell back onto Lee. Lee then gets fired up with a series of strikes to Starks' face. He then takes Starks down with a clothesline. Starks get him with a cutter not soon after. Springboard missile drop kick to Starks for a 2 count from Lee Johnson. Starks later finishes Lee with his patented inverted power slam from the corner turnbuckle for the win. I forget what he calls that move. Post-match, Wardlow comes out to give Lee a campaign pin of MJF's, just to remind him that he is a campaign member of MJF's cabinet. Lee has been reluctant his whole stint in this cabinet, and the story progresses with this act. Next match we have Baron Black and Tony Donati versus Santana and Ortiz. Santana and Black starts the match off with chops and slaps to the face, and later lets Donati get a tag. Ortiz goes in with a DDT to Donati. Later they get the win with a sit-down powerbomb followed by a super kick. This match was all about building up Santana and Ortiz, and they showed off some nice character work. And they showed a mean streak that we don't see too much of on Dynamite. They mostly go for the comedy stuff. It'd be nice to see them in this light on Dynamite every once in a while. Comedy stuff is cool, but to see them get down and dirty, nitty gritty, angry, aggressive, just like they are when they face these unsigned talents on Dark. That's what I like to see. We shall see if we get it. Next match, we had Lance Archer versus John Cruz and Jesse Sorensen in a handicap match, which was nicely booked, in my opinion. Cruz didn't enter with Jesse, and I said, I know that could he show up later? And of course, as Lance Archer made his entrance, he was carrying John Cruz to the ring like a sack of potatoes. He later pounces Jesse and choke tosses Cruz into a ring corner. He follows all that up with a freight train-like tackle back and forth to both Jesse and John Cruz. They later attempt to double-team Archer, but to no avail. Sorensen gets full Nelson slammed, and Cruz gets laid out also. Cruz then saves the pin for his team, And by doing so, he chose death. Archer then ends the match via a simultaneous EBD claw to both Sorensen and John Cruz. Post-match, Jake later teases us with a DDT, but nope, he didn't do it. A lot of people would have popped for that. Nice teasing there. Good match. Nicely booked handicap match. And I believe that's the first one we saw ever in AEW. And it came on Dark. What do you know? Next matchup we had, this was a co-main event. We have Billy, a.k.a. Billy Gunn, versus 5 Allen Angels of the Dark Order. Billy handshakes Tony and ignores Taz. Also hugs Aubrey Edwards before the match. Good stuff there. Billy just towers over 5 and hits with a hard right. He then gets a delayed vertical to a jackhammer on 5 for a 2 count. 5 has been fighting from behind the whole match thus far. Billy then misses an elbow drop, which 5 capitalizes on with a flurry of quick offense. Billy then goes for a Fame-Asser, but on 5, but he blocks it. Billy hits his one and only finisher on 5 for the win not long after. This surprised me because I did not think Billy Gunn would be getting a win here, but he did. And I believe that's it's not his first ever win, but definitely his first solo win in AEW. It was a good match, but most would have liked to see 5 go over Billy since he's much younger and is a future. But we shall see what they have in store for Billy and Austin Gunn going forward. Post-match, 5 holds on to Billy as he exits the ring. Dark Order appears and beats him down a bit, but Austin Gunn comes out for the save with a chair to help his dad out. The Gun Club ain't backing down. And I think this may set up a little mini feud, the Dark Order versus the Gun Club on Dark. Probably next week or the week after. Stay tuned for that. I think we see something sooner rather than later in regards to that. The final main event, Private Party and SCU versus the Lucha Brothers and the Butcher and the Blade. And this was a great 8-man tag. I did not expect this to be that good on Dark. Good stuff. And it was tough to keep up with what was going on, but I tried my best. And here we go. Butcher and Daniels kicks off the match. Daniels uses his speed on Butcher. Comes in extra handy as he tags in Kazarian for the double team. The only way they got Butcher down, Kazarian and Blade then go at it with some slight mat wrestling for a 2 count. Kaz tagged in Cassidy, which he followed that up with a senton as he entered the ring after this tag. So he got offense in immediately after tagging in the match. Blade holds the ropes after a whip for a tag to Phoenix as he gets Hurricane Rounded via Cassidy and gets a 2 count after that. Later, Cassidy gets isolated as the Butcher, etc., beats him down. He then gets a tag to Quinn after a tag mistake on Phoenix's part, which is part of the match. It was not a botch. Later, Butcher and the Blade hit the full death on Christopher Daniels for the win, and I thought it was a great match. Everyone looked good, perfectly booked, good stuff. If we see stuff like that on Dynamite often, then many people will warm up to the multi-man matches. Solid episode of Dark, had 11 matches, good stuff. Shall see what we get next week for the live edition of Dynamite. Thanks for watching / listening, and I will talk to you soon.